Okay, so yeah, because we can start, well, unless we have something to vote on, then we'll wait for quorum. But, we got some, that way we can start with the,
Well, we can vote on the minutes if we get quorum.
if we get quorum, right? You have a pen on you, Chris? I was asking you for a pen, right? No, where's yours? You have one for
Okay,
you?
Gloria will take the note.
No, here.
Here, Mr.
No. There you go. No. Okay. You want to go ahead and start taking roll, Mr. Chair?
Okay. Bernal Slides here.
Here.
Mario. Ricardo.
I'm here.
Luis not here. Me. Ricardo Francisco Contreras.
Absent.
Jose Antonio Martinez.
Right here,
Fernando Rodriguez.
right here. And then District 8 does not have an appointee yet. Okay, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance so we can get started.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Wait on the approval of the minutes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any action items, or you want to wait on that?
Let's wait on it. That way, if anybody got any concerns, Commissioner, we can, or anything we want to make for next time. And then we'll go ahead and go over the staff reports. I mean, the three staff reports. We have any questions or any, Brandon? Oh, I'm sorry. Before we start, we have a public comment. We have a public comment that would like that signed up. And, so if you, Mr. Young?
Yes, sir.
So you want to go ahead and, normally we have 3 minutes. If you all want to extend the minute, if longer than 3 minutes, then he's more than welcome to, you all can go ahead and tell him to extend the.
Presented to y'all a little project. I gave you all a little sheet here that you can go over. And our company name is Moist. We're Moringa, South Texas. And that's our, and if you look at the first page, it has our logo and stuff on it, but it's pink because of the cancer thing that we also work on. But if you look at the next page, it shows a moringa tree, kind of. And it just shows that it has what it has that it provides. It has the highest carbon dioxide emission capture. It's 20 times higher than any other tree that's ever been found. So we're talking about, since we're on the Mines Road, y'all are, in the golf course, I think it would be real good to have it as a publicity thing. Because it also, you'll have key facts about what health it cures and stuff. And on the last page, I have a Johns Hopkins study, which shows that, it also works. Mr. Faley, who was head of the Cancer Medicine School at Johns Hopkins, when he checked it, he went all over the world, he did 169 research papers. And he found that the only other nutritious tropical tree where all the products were found, besides in all the different kinds of vegetables, was the moringa tree. And they recommend that, they use it for cancer. They say if you use it for, in the mornings with your, what do they call them, the little, any kind of drink. You can drink tea, you can make smoothies, you can make whatever you want out of it. And the tea works really good. And so they're saying that would be it's a really nutritious tree for everything that's involved. And I said if the Max Mandel golf course, and Max was a real good friend of my dad's, so I like it. And if we plant those trees in cooperation with you all, if you all are really interested in it, you want to do it, I'll give you more of the, what we need to entail it. Because we'll do the planting, we'll give you the trees, we'll give you everything, we'll even trim the trees for you. And you can decide where you want them on the golf course, what you want them, and we come in and trim them, we trim them into a bush like this. About 6 foot tall, in an area like this are real pretty, and they come down to, it comes down to a stalk of about, I'd say we normally keep about 2 to 3 inches. Okay, these trees will grow for 10 years. But if you let them grow for 10 years, they get a little bit basic. But when you trim them, you take care of them, it's different. And the leaves do form flowers, little white flowers. And then they also form seed pods. We will harvest those for you. And later, you know, we decide what we're gonna do here. And I'd like to get you all to give them to, you know, some of your patrons that are there that go out to the golf course all the time. Maybe they'd like to try some of it or something, but it'll be for you all to do that. We'll let you all do that. We'll put a big sign that shows what it does, what it is, and how much you should take each day. Because we have to limit it.
There are some in Laredo.
There are none in Laredo. You can buy it at H-E-B, you wanna go buy it.
Do they freeze?
Hmm?
Do they freeze?
They can freeze, but the ground has to freeze below the root structure. They have a real long, root. They only need water once every 2 weeks. They like drought conditions and sandy loam soil. That's Laredo. I mean, my dad was a grower here for 40 years. I know what it has. I helped him a lot. I worked with him a long time. And, I know right there at the Max, we worked a little bit with Mr. Mandel and stuff, so I know what it has there. I know that y'all can, all we need to do is just get it prepared so we can plant them. And we plant 2 acres of them, that's 2,000 trees. Think about that. That captures a lot of carbon.
You mentioned
and stuff.
something about being able to sell the credits for,
Oh, yeah, and y'all can sell, the Max will have the ability to sell the carbon credits to the city or any of the major companies that need carbon credits. And that's real important right now. But as a publicity deal, I think it'd be real good that this is gonna be the first golf course and country club in Texas, maybe in the nation, that does this.
You sell the trees though?
We do, but I'm not gonna sell them to you. I wanna plant them for you and maintain them for you. Alls I want is the leaves and stuff so we can sell the products. That's it. That's why we do the maintenance and stuff, because it's we do, but well, when we get to if y'all are really interested in it, you wanna do it, you let me know. We'll make some kind of arrangement where y'all get such a percentage of any sales or anything that we do. That way the golf course would also generate some income out of it. And I think it's a publicity deal. I think it's very good because it shows that you're capturing carbon, which is helping the green area, and especially for the city and stuff.
What do you sell?
We sell the products, the powders, the capsules, all that kind of stuff.
So what, you harvest that off the tree,
We harvest that off the tree, yes, sir, off the leaves.
off the leaves?
Yeah, let me show you the leaves and the powders, how it
Yeah,
works.
you sell it as a supplement, right?
Yes, sir. It's sold, a lot of companies like H-E-B and other companies, there's a lot of companies, we sell it as cattle feed and as animal feed. You can sell it as, it works for chickens. And if you sell it to dairy farmers, it increases the milk production by 60%. Think about that.
Where does it come from?
They come from India originally. So all the people that are putting it in, are bringing it in right now, are bringing it in from India and other foreign companies. They can't compete with the freight and stuff, there's no way. And, this is what the leaves look like when they're harvested and dried, washed and dried. And when you put these in a blender, the powder comes out that you use in smoothies and stuff like that. I have a pharmaceutical company out of Uvalde that does a lot of pharmaceuticals. They're also involved with the zoos around the country. And they're interested in doing something with us. I haven't given them any contracts or anything yet. But the owner of the company came and talked to me and he's really interested in it. And he's really interested in it also as a feed, because he says when they feed elephants and animals like rhinos and stuff, that's what they normally eat in their home area. And he said it's really nutritious for them.
Do you think it'll affect any of the wildlife in that area?
It might help them, that's about all. But
Okay.
the man from Uvalde's head of the deer sickness that deer get, like, the waste disease. And they're thinking this will help them with the waste disease. They wanna put it in the feed for the deer in the area. But we can't do that much yet. We're just getting started,
So,
so it's hard to
Brent,
get them all together.
has Landscapes Unlimited done any research on this, please? Do you know?
This is the first I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Maybe y'all could check it out to be
Yeah.
sure it doesn't have byproducts that are gonna
That's exactly what I
end
was,
up like a salt cedar.
that's what I was saying to Bill. The thing is the unknowns, right? You know, bugs, insects, all the things, who knows, right? But it sounds intriguing, Bill.
Oh, well, if you all are interested, I have a lot more information for you, like, and I will get with you all. I would like for you all to get together with you all to see how we can work as a co-op, where you all can sell the products and stuff too, and you all get an income from it. Because I think that's a big deal. But,
The biggest deal is to find a golf course in India that has the trees.
I don't know about the golf course. I know about, that they
You can't
plant
take
them,
any risk.
they plant them by the millions. They plant millions of acres of it. South America is just getting involved right now, Brazil and them.
But all we care about is golf,
Exactly.
right? So we just wanna be sure there are golf courses somewhere that have these trees, have had them for years, and that it has no negative effect on whatever's growing on it.
Because it hasn't, as far as we know, it doesn't affect anything other than that, because they grow it next to corn and everything else, and grass, and for the animals. Because they grow it, in Brazil, they grow it all for animal production. Because, for animal feed. Because it,
Well, that's true, and that's where they grow buffalo grass, but we don't want buffalo grass on the golf course.
no, of course not.
Right, so,
No. These trees actually will, you know, that's when we harvest the seeds and stuff. That's why we harvest all the seeds and all the stuff on, because you don't want them growing next to each other. They need to be separated a little bit, so we have an area that's theirs. That's it. But we can research it, if you want me to research
well, no,
it,
I wanna ask, Landscapes Unlimited manages the course right now, so.
okay.
they
And I
should-
think
They
it's,
should verify that it's a specimen that the city could put in the golf course and have no negative impact.
okay, great.
Yep.
And I think if you all are interested in it, I can present you all with more facts and stuff.
Thank you.
Bring some smoothies next time. Bring some smoothies.
And
Make some smoothies and give
and
everybody
if y'all would
smoothies.
do some studies on it as well.
Yeah, I've got some notes here.
And
Just, I mean, I was telling him, George Gonzalez from Gonzalez Auto Parts, he takes the capsules. He's been taking them he told me for years. And he says they really work. He had high blood pressure, a lot of health issues. And then when he started taking the capsules every day, he takes one every day, he says he lost his blood pressure, went down, nothing. He has no health problems right now because he's been taking them. And I had a friend that had stage 4 cancer of the throat. And they told me he wasn't gonna live long. He started taking the smoothies and stuff, and 6 months later, he was diagnosed completely cancer-free.
100% moringa smoothies, is that what it is?
No, it's mixed, you have to mix it. I'd have to put in there exactly how much you use for each one, and let people know exactly, because it goes on when we do the packages, it goes on the packages.
The only thing, it says anti-aging tips for women. What about men?
Well, the women, but we found out with the women, we're a lot more interested in the anti-aging stuff.
Maybe it just, they lose a little bit of their eyesight to make us look younger.
Well, thank you all very much.
Thank
You all
appreciate
can
that.
read it and
Appreciate
stuff. And
Thank
I
you.
would appreciate it if none of this information got out to anybody else, because we don't want a lot of competition, because it's easy for somebody else to come in and say, well, I want to be a grower. But if Mr. Mandel knows, I've been a grower,
Farmer.
sorry about that.
So how much water do they take?
Very little. They're a drought tree. They like drought conditions with sandy loam soil. That's South Texas.
Yeah,
I don't care what you say. There's a big company in Houston growing them already. They have a real big problem. Why? Houston's on the Gulf. Every morning, they get a lot of mold and stuff in their leaves and stuff.
yeah,
And that's
that won't be a problem here.
dangerous for you. You know, that's not really acceptable to the FDA and everybody else. And we want FDA, and once we get them started, we get them going, we want FDA to come in and check them. We want these fully organic. You know, we want FDA and everybody else to give them, we already have approvals, but we want to get better approvals on that particular stock right there. Because that would make, and I think the publicity thing is that y'all are capturing carbon, and growing a product that helps cancer patients. I think that's a big publicity thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Thank you all for
Appreciate
your
it,
time.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
For the record,
Working with me on Parks and Recreation.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, sir, Mario Rodriguez.
Mario Rodriguez,
Sorry, guys, I was in another event.
Mario Rodriguez, is present now.
Yes.
Welcome, Mr. Rodriguez. This is, let me introduce the committee. Rick Garza,
Pleasure.
Bernal Slight,
Yes, sir.
our chair,
Gary Jacobs, sorry, nice to
How you
meet you.
doing, sir?
Gary Jacobs, our secretary, Gloria Landine, myself, J.J. Gomez, Parks Director,
Yes, sir.
and also from Parks and Rec office is Christie. Right behind us is
Enemy number one.
Brandon, how do you say your last name?
Walruff.
Walruff,
Just 'cause I checked in now,
Sure,
Rick, don't get mad.
from the management company.
Yep.
Okay, from there. And then
Sending
Dennis,
this thing as a deflect.
Yep,
Dennis there from,
I ran into him today, earlier.
okay, so we are, we're going through staff reports. Mr. Young just, thank you, presented us with this presentation. We're gonna go through the staff reports. We don't have a quorum yet. Somebody just notified me he's about 10, 15 minutes away. So if there's anything that needs to get added to the agenda or anything that needs to be taken action, we have to have at least five to be able to, okay? So in the meantime, let's go ahead and go over the executive, I'm sorry, the staff reports. So on the executive summaries, we emailed you yesterday a copy of the executive summaries, that the last couple of them that Landscapes Golf Management sends it to me, and then I go over them. If I have any questions, I ask them through Dennis or through Brandon. But I don't know if you all wanna go through month by month on February. We can.
What, on the financials?
No. Right now we're just going on the executive summaries.
Okay.
I thought we'll go to the financials.
No, that's fine.
You know, you guys are.
I was reading over that. There was, one of the things that caught my eye was and I'm not sure what direction you guys are gonna take. I know, Dennis, you and I spoke about it, on having one of your people from out of town, from one of the other courses. That's I guess the head greenskeeper in another area that has the expertise and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And sort of maintain the course as it is right now with the staff that's doing all the trimming and cutting and doing everything that they were trained to do. And while you find the time frame between now and when you get a permanent person in there, that person can be coming in back and forth to sort of give them a checklist of items to do on a monthly basis, and then maintaining the course at that level. The reason I'd asked them that is because that's the way Casablanca has found that was the more appropriate way to go. They have while they trained a permanent greenskeeper there, they were bringing in one of their people from Weslaco to kind of train him and give him the guidelines as to what to do every day and month, and how to feed, how to seed, how to do everything accordingly. And they've maintained an incredible amount of success because of that. Instead of waiting for somebody, like if you hire somebody right now, 2 months later, that person decides Laredo's not the place for them, and then they leave, and here we go again, the whole process. So I'm not sure that's the process y'all are taking.
Since we spoke, I'll let you talk about how, or
Hold on, before you guys speak. So I guess that will be part of number 3, which is the annual plan maintenance, Rick?
No, I'm just the general property performance.
Comment on the monthly
Oh, okay.
executive summary.
Yeah.
All right, and Rick, just, in the committee, I have spoken to, landscape, I spoke to, was it Tom? Tom Everett? And that was one of the concerns, you know, I was telling them that, it's all about the course that needs to get maintained, right? And unfortunately, we don't have a permanent superintendent. I know, Dave was there, now he's not there. And I think the most important thing is the course, right? And I go back to my sports, you know, we always take care of the field and make sure, because that's where you're gonna play. And I think the big sell at the course is the uniqueness and the beauty, how good the course is. We expect it to be at a certain standard.
And it's not there.
And, you know, we need to get it there.
Yeah, so, and, you know, so what I was gonna refer to is that they've, I don't know if it was by accident or what, but they've realized great success by having that method. And in that, the person that's been coming over here, as I know the greenskeepers there at Casablanca, they've told me that, you know, the knowledge and expertise that this guy brought here, without having to be here permanently, and just let them do their job, really is what brought up that golf course to the level that it's at right now. And-
Rick, I thought that's what the city was paying Landscapes Unlimited
I-
to do, so that's the problem I have. In other words, the course is not where it should be, and I thought, maybe I'm wrong, that the contract requires you to keep it that way, and that the only constraint would be how much money the city apportions for maintenance. So,
Yeah.
You want me to comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
is that not what the contract says?
That's exactly what it says, Gary. And that's exactly what we've been doing. I will say that from the beginning with Mark Soto, is our first superintendent, correct? We've had challenges with the greens from day one, right? And that's a fact.
Cause you're overwatering them.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Okay, that's an opinion, actually. The silt that's in the water going onto the golf course is really, really bad. We've done water tests, we continue to do water tests, and it's something that we're fighting. We're gonna continue to fight. The superintendents that we've had have done a really nice job. I think we can all agree that tees, fairways, surrounds, roughs are in pretty darn good shape. I was out there yesterday. Do we have some challenges on about 4 or 5 greens? Yes, we do, no question. I think that Dennis and his team has combated that quite a bit over the last year, but we need to do more. We need to be more aggressive. To answer your question about Mr. LeBlanc, whose name is on this report here,
Yeah.
he's at a facility in Scottsdale that's probably in the top 3 ranked facilities in town. He's an exceptional superintendent at what he does. He knows agronomics very well. Does our interim superintendent right now have a great fertilizer and chemical background? Probably not to the standard that we need at this point. But with Andrew's support and Chris Lewis, who's our national agronomist who lives in Denver, with his support, I think we can get there. Is it something that can be fixed overnight, based on the water that's coming onto the property? It's not. But
I got a question. How long have you all been under contract to the city?
8 years?
Can't be fixed overnight, can't be fixed in 8 years? I've never heard you raise this.
It's definitely been raised.
It has? In a minute somewhere?
Well, we've had the committee, 2 years, I think we've had the committee,
And they've
We
been
can go
talking
back.
about silt, they've been talking about silt for 2 years?
we would have to go back and.
I would need to check the minutes.
we
I
would
mean,
check the minutes.
I think it's safe to say that Mark Soto could sit in this room and tell you that he faced the same challenges from day one.
Well, I mean, that issue, I hadn't heard about that, but the idea that we've been at it for 2 years, this committee's been at it for 2 years, and the challenge has been there for 2 years. And really, the only thing we requested, and we can go back to the minutes and see that, is that I wanted a game plan from day one, so that these type of discussions here can be documented, and we can all be in it together as to where we're gonna take this course and find those areas of concern. Because as it is, we were getting, information that, and this was me personally, that we were getting told, we'll try to do this, we'll see if this works, we'll get somebody to look at it. And so during that whole time, and then we've had a turnover of people come in and out that have not found the actual solution. Because why? Because we never got the written document that says this is what we're gonna do, this is the game plan that we're gonna follow. And as I talked to Dennis, this gave me a little bit more hope. Because if you're saying that the guy that's coming in from Scottsdale is in one of the premier courses in the country, then, and he has a background in agronomics, then you know, that gives me some leeway. Because I'm sure he's gonna come in here and he's gonna say, this is what we need to do. And by way of what I was talking about Casablanca is that inadvertently, they found a system that works because they got an expert that really was telling them what to do and guiding them, rather than somebody that was, let's say, and all due respect to Dave, a local that was telling him, I think we can do this. I think we should do this. I think we ought to do this, and there was no set guideline with any sort of expertise in their background.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but the committee was formed so that the city of Laredo, represented by JJ, and you all can come to those terms and give us that information, as he was saying, because there's been gaps in every meeting that we've had, there's been gaps of information that haven't been fulfilled. So, but you know, that's really what that shows promise.
I think
Rick,
something that would help me.
For the record, the reason I expressed strong verbal support in the beginning for hiring Landscapes Unlimited to manage this golf course is because they built it. And they have, at that time, had built 900 or 1,000 grass athletic facilities worldwide. They were the gold standard of how to build golf courses. I don't believe they've performed here as the gold standard to maintain this golf course, not in 8 years.
In all fairness, something that would help me out, where would you like me to distribute these types of reports?
To each of us, yeah.
Yeah, and we can go back and forth, you know, I serve on other boards and stuff like that, but, and we get daily information as we move along. And then really at the end of the day, this committee was formed as an oversight, because we knew that the city, at that point, JJ wasn't there. There was no oversight for anybody that Dennis could speak to this way, to the city. So, and nobody to the city to tell Dennis, how can we help? It was just, you were in an island pretty much over there. But at the same time, you had a contract to fulfill, and that contract had its guidelines as to what the way you all were supposed to perform. But nobody was out there to tell you, okay, you're doing good, you're not doing good, or anything, other than, I think, however many rounds we got, or whatever. And where we got to this point was that, yeah, the course started deteriorating pretty rapidly over the last 4 years. It used to be and I can attest to that personally, 365 days a year, that course looked beautiful, up to about 2017. Then we started seeing it decline and decline and decline and decline.
Mainly the greens and maybe the bunkers. But everything in the fairways and the rough.
To add to that, it seems to me, from a management point of view, Brandon, unfair to the city to have Dennis, who's a great guy, sending you agronomy reports and how to grow grass reports and all this stuff, reporting to you, and then you write a report back to the city, where Landscapes Unlimited ought to have an agronomist or somebody who is an expert on growing grass and irrigation come periodically and report that to you themselves. That shouldn't be Dennis's job as a grass grower. He's not that.
I don't think that's exactly what's happening.
I think that is exactly what's happening.
No, I mean, like I was asking, and I'm not trying to point fingers or anything, but we have had agronomy reports, and we have had agronomy visits, regular agronomic visits from our agronomy team.
How often?
2 to 3 times a year with Steve Merkel. Yeah.
Well, just
So is there a solution that you are gonna recommend, or?
Yeah, I think our number one solution is we need to look at the water and
Yeah,
how,
but-
and the filtration system.
So
Other than that, we're gonna continue to fight the same battle. And again, I don't wanna, the past is gone, right? We need to look forward. But we've definitely recommended taking a strong look at the irrigation system in the past.
So
And these, I'm sorry, Gary, this isn't done by Dennis. This wasn't written by Dennis.
we got for, I guess, soil tests, silt and all that, David first, we got the pump last year, and that's when David said, hey, look at the soil test. So he sat here and kind of told us about
Yeah, I
it.
remember that.
Unfortunately, we had things we didn't eat for a while, but what we've come to is an inline filter system that would go into the pump, because supposedly the leak is too small. So the silt never gets a chance to settle, we start pumping water
It's
out.
too shallow or too?
Too shallow, too small, you know, so that's one thing.
Well,
And then,
who's saying that?
well, we've got the gentleman who installed the pumps. I just got an email from him yesterday
I mean,
saying,
from Landscapes Unlimited is telling us, telling the city, the lake's too small and it's too shallow, is that what Dennis is saying?
There needs to be a holding pond, and then the water typically is gravity fed into another pond that the water is pulled out
It's
of.
because
So-
the water is
I
full of
understand.
silt.
It's never
I'm just
settled.
trying-
Want it
I'm
bigger.
just trying to get a handle on 8 years. So if the lake was too small, if it's too small today, it was too small 8 years ago. I don't ever remember anybody telling me that.
I don't think it's necessarily too small. Typically, they're using multiple ponds in golf course irrigation systems. Because right now, the water's pumping in and it's just constantly churning, and typically.
But you guys built a golf course.
Gary, I didn't have anything to do with the construction of the golf course.
We did, I mean, the city of Laredo did, and Landscapes Unlimited, it was a design build. And,
Well, it was-
and
it
you
was
put some
designed by
kind of
Robert
warranty
Frank
behind
Jones.
it, and this is the first time I'm hearing that the irrigation system was inadequately designed. Y'all designed it,
Okay, I don't think that's necessarily true either, but.
but it's true, you put the irrigation system
We
in.
put the irrigation system in the way it was designed, and
Okay, a different question, you think Landscapes Unlimited is gonna put their warranty and their name on a golf course and irrigation system that's totally inadequate? I doubt it.
okay.
well, in the part that I just got an email from the guy who put in the new pump.
Who's the guy? The guy
Well,
is from Landscapes Unlimited?
No, this is the
Who?
gentleman who installed the pump.
Who hired him?
David Smith and Landscapes yesterday.
Landscapes hired him?
Yeah,
Okay,
we got him.
so you're speaking on behalf of Landscapes?
I'm speaking on behalf of the Max, why?
Are you speaking on behalf of Landscapes Unlimited?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Is
I
that
work
who
for
you,
Landscapes.
is that who you work for?
Yes.
Okay, just so everybody's clear and the record's clear,
I
you're
think the
speaking for.
last 2 years that I've been showing up to these meetings, man, it's the
You're
5, 6 months that
you're speaking for Landscapes.
I'm speaking for Dennis right now. Because that's what I'm speaking for. I don't know if that's.
Well, you're an
I'd like to
agent,
hear-
you
I'm
represent.
going to,
because-
so let's say I'm speaking for Landscapes. We had a call to the gentleman, told him our problem. He's like, well, I had told David about this. He thinks that the filtration pump. He says, talk to Texas A&M. He's supposed to send me a number for a gentleman to come do a water viability test to see how much soil is in it. So he can decide what kind of microns on the filter he can create. Filter can run anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000. Just depends on the microns that he says is fit for the amount of water that's coming through.
So Dennis, I mean, you told me this before, here's the problem I have. The city of Laredo contracted with Landscapes Unlimited, who are experts on this.
Mhm.
They seem to be using you, but you're a good guy, but you're not a technically qualified expert to do this, and Brandon's sitting here silent. So Landscapes Unlimited has to use their experience and their credentials to say, here, this is what needs to be done on this course. You shouldn't be doing that.
Which also, I mean, it goes back to the operational part, that we've been, and so let's just stick to right now to the greens and to the landscape of the golf course first. Because there's other questions on the management part also and again, if you put a survey out there as to the level of production that Dennis has and the likability of Dennis and all that kind of stuff at the max, he represents you extremely well. There's no doubt that everybody out there is out there to support him, and the guy's been doing an excellent job. Having said that, that's only on Dennis's part. We as members of the community that we get to come to these meetings, get to see and perform, and with our own eyes, and then use our expertise in our own personal lives to try and figure out a way how to help Dennis. It is my opinion that he's totally understaffed. And that might be because of and that's one of the reasons that this committee came forward, because we wanted to find out what the contract stated, what your level of commitment was on your contract and the city of Laredo's part, so that anything that went wrong, they won't be doing this. We were gonna say, this is your contract, this falls under you, this falls under the city. There's been numerous times in these meetings that we've come that the city has failed to perform, that I've noticed. And there's been several times where the landscape has failed to perform. But that's what it's for. We can just sit here and call balls and strikes all day and say, okay, let's just fix it. And therefore, like this thing right here, we can go ahead and get that done. But, you know, I understand Mr. Jacob's frustration because of that, because we've never had this type of information before. And we've had to rely on Dennis to give us that information, of which, like Mr. Jacob said, he's not technically, he doesn't have the expertise for any of this. And so here we are, on this date, and we're trying to figure out, okay, we're gonna reorganize now again and figure out what's the best avenue, what's the best action to take, not only from the golf course point of view, but from the operations point of view, because we see that obviously, that other course has about 30 to 40 people working over there without the greenskeepers. Dennis only has about 6, 7, 8 that he has to run the whole deal with. So that's another conversation maybe for another day, but it really, I'm glad that you're here. Then, I mean, now we get to speak about these type of things, and then we can figure out a way to fix them from this point.
Maybe we didn't know enough, or the city didn't know enough, or all of us collectively when the contract was written, but if you look at it from a high level, it looks like a perverse incentive. That maybe landscapes makes more money if costs are reduced on the golf course. I think their bonus might be tied to how much the course consumes in dollars versus other incentives.
I'll go on the record to say that that's completely false.
That's not right.
No,
Well, how do you earn your bonus?
we don't have a bonus incentive with the city of Laredo.
It's just a monthly fee.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, hey, look, I'm, as a capitalist, I wouldn't mind, if the bar's high enough and there's bonus incentives to get done, I would hate to think that would increase the level of productivity at the course, instead of it being, even if you didn't have the bonus, that the level of commitment and pride that one would take because you have a contract to fulfill, that would be the only driver,
So
right?
the question is then why, is in your opinion the course understaffed from a maintenance point of view?
I think that 95% of the golf courses in the country are probably understaffed from the maintenance side of things, but
But I didn't ask for 95%,
I
I
think
asked for
that-
this course.
I think that the maintenance staff is currently, besides, like I mentioned, 4 or 5 of the greens, I think they're doing a really fine job out there.
So you're saying that you think it's adequately staffed?
I think for the price that we're charging for that golf course,
That's not what I asked.
well, it's part of my answer.
I asked you if you thought it was adequately staffed to keep the course.
I think we're about 1 body short right now.
Well, you're talking about the golf course itself. We still have to do, because the bodies that are up on the clubhouse, those aren't the bodies that do the golf course, right? So I believe that. I mean, yes, over here, and it shows, over the last month or so, 2 months, 3 months, it's coming around pretty good. And you've identified now the greens that really have been struggling for the last 4 or 5 years. But I'm talking about not only that, and I need to find out really from my point of view is what level of the contract, how many people are you supposed to hold up at the clubhouse, to bring in the customer service part of it to where it's supposed to be. Because I believe that, and I've only seen, this is just a physical count, there's about 8 people in there. And I think that's overwhelming for the number of people that are there.
What do you mean, 8 people in the clubhouse?
That I see 8 people in the clubhouse. The guys at the barn, there's about 2 or 3 guys that bring the cards back.
To be clear, I'm totally focused on green grass.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's
my
just-
question, to be clear, is this course adequately staffed to keep it to the Robert Trent Jones design standard, USGA, whatever, to a high standard in terms of the agricultural part of the course, not the
Operational.
I think we're 1 body short.
one body short? So that seems a little inconsistent with your experience that you just articulated on how many people take care of other courses.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at comparison. There's a little overwhelming effect on Dennis that I'm seeing. There's an inconsistent, amount of, at the customer service level, right? Can't get anybody to get on the cart to go out sell drinks or anything like that. Inside the clubhouse, it seems to me the maintenance upkeep of the whole clubhouse and everything that you have to do in there, it's constantly, not necessarily behind, but it's sort of like they're always on playing defense instead of offense. And that's really where I see the course. We're constantly playing defense rather than having an offensive mindset to this. And it's something that, I've said from the get-go, we need to just get the game plan going so that we can all follow up and we can all be on the same page every single time that we step in there and come to these meetings. And therefore, there won't be any gray area. It's either black or white. That we're headed in this direction. JJ, the city of Laredo didn't perform up to its standards to help them. What do we need to do from the city's point of view? And then landscapes, you didn't perform to your level, and now the city's having to pick up your slack. What do we need to do about that? Because at the end of the day, we are the stewards of, this committee is the stewards of the city of Laredo taxpayers. And we need to make sure that everything that you're doing over there, we're doing it diligently so that we can go back to our constituents and say, hey, yeah, they're doing a good job over there.
If the golf course was maintained or looked and played like it did the first few years it was open, we would be getting a lot more play from out of town. My friends who come from out of town don't wanna come back.
Yep. It is true.
And it's the greens,
It's the greens.
it's the greens, because everything else looks,
It used to be the sand traps, but it's the
and, the
greens.
sand traps.
If they don't wanna come back, that's revenue the city's losing, that's business opportunities the city's losing. And it's been 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, but as I said, we've been, it's a steady decline that we've seen over the last 5 years. It's a phenomenon that, everything just fell at the same time. We got the Poana on all the greens that year, that we got which was gonna be our moment of the shine to get the Border Olympics out there. And then they said, don't ever bring me here again.
Correct.
And so, that's good. That's not good, but the point is that there was an identifiable problem that we said, this is it. What are we gonna do about it from this point on? And so, right now, we just went over 3 or 4 things that we're looking at, and the answer is, might not be today. But the thing is, I think what we all need to do is we need to figure out a way, how are we gonna get, first of all, the greens going, and how do we speak to each other so that we can be in constant communication, and how to get the city and landscape to work together towards that common goal. And then we can establish, okay, with the next 6 months, because David came in 2 years ago, I'll get it ready in 4 months, don't worry, I said, I'll give you 12 months. And he said, I'll get it ready for it, just put 12 months down. It took him 10 months to get him halfway decent, So my point is that I don't wanna put a short number on the time frame as to when we get it fixed. We have to be truthful and honest and brutally honest as to what needs to be done so that we can get it done. And then, believe me, we'll be laughing about this.
Rick, I don't remember, but Rick, how were the greens at the end of Tom Horseman's tour here?
That was the POA.
That was before, right
No,
before.
Tom was the POA. Tom was there when Border Olympics was there.
Yeah.
He was the one battling the POA. If Mark Soto never really battled POA, he battled the mildew on 4 and 6 and everything.
Correct.
And then he replanted the whole nursery, and then he left. Tom came in, and then his second year is when the POA started. We don't know what happened. We don't know if we just like, wow.
Well, that was, so when David came in, then we got control of it. This was all after a disastrous year of battling that thing. And then Tom was on his way out anyway, so I don't think he took special interest in trying to fix it because he was on his way out. So David came in, that's when he said, I'll get it done in 4 months. I said, no, this.
And he found nematodes.
Huh?
Remember that
Yeah,
whole nematode thing,
yeah.
which was.
So,
We
but
never
then
had
again, Tom started it, and then David, and again, the only question was, look, guys, after every meeting, instead of having the monthly reports on this, let's give us a subsection in here as to where we're at with
growing
green.
grass.
Growing grass.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Is there a way to water one green with different water?
We do have access to the city water, so
Just to kind of see if that,
if we could,
so we don't spend all this money
I
trying to
know
say
that-
silt, and then it's
yeah,
not the
I know
silt.
that RIA,
But it is the silt.
Huh?
It's in the water reports that we've got, just a ton of
So-
silt, and it's in the soil
Well,
reports.
but Brown's question is a good one. There used to be a water line there that came from the city water plant that had no silt in it, because it's potable water.
Yeah.
And,
Still there.
and the
It's still
city
there.
used that to flush the system periodically. They wanted to dump water. So his question is, can we isolate one green or two greens, turn the silt water off, turn on the city water, and see what happens?
so, yes, cause we can do, I know RIA was like, if we turn it on, he's gonna charge us like a residential fee.
Oh.
But, I mean, we can do it, I mean, it's a drop in the bucket, I would think, compared to what would happen, or maybe we can get special permission
We
from
can
RIA.
talk to RIA, because I don't think anything's changed, and the reason they were flushing that line is because it didn't go anywhere, it
They
dead
had
ended.
too much water, they had to,
Had too much water in it, so if they still need to flush it on our green.
Yeah, cause we do have, it has enough pressure in it to do 6 sprinkler heads, which is what a green has around it, so it's easily doable. We could experiment on hole 1 and hole 10
oh, one would be good.
Yeah.
'cause that's,
and see where it goes.
But how would you do that mechanically? You'd have to
He just,
water it by hand, or?
no, he would turn the valve so that now we'd be feeding city water into it.
Just to one green, you can do
No,
that?
we can do, yeah, so once,
oh, you can do different greens if you wanted to eventually.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know how
Well,
you
we
do
do
that.
that.
I thought you would do like some, like maybe 17
so the way it would
where
work
the
is,
water line's
he
closed.
shuts off the city valve. Cause right now, we have a leak and they're fixing it, and our plan B was, if they didn't have to fix it by today, was we're gonna water 1 through 12 greens by turning the valve off so that we're not pulling water from and letting the city water in. And then manually, you can either do it on the computer, or you can go to Toto on each sprinkler head, each satellite, and put 1 through 6, and this 1 through 6 sprinklers turn on, 20 minutes. And then go to the next one, program it for 30 minutes later, 30 minutes later, 30 minutes later. Hence it runs for 6 hours, right? Because you got 12 greens at 30 minutes. And there's your city water on the thing. But if we wanted to experiment, yes, it's gonna take a turn valve, let it run out, because now it's got city water in it, or it's got still some river water in it. Let it flush out, then, or let it flush out on the fairways, because we don't mind that. And then, okay, you've turned on the water long enough, we estimate it's an hour or 20 minutes of flushing it out. Let it do 1, 10, 12, and then shut it back down, and then switch it back to the, I mean, that's one way to
Why
do it.
not hand water it? Could hand water it, just one green.
I mean,
But you still need to switch the valve, because if you hand water it, because you can attach a hose to the sprinkler system and hand water, but that's still river water unless you change the valve to let the other water come in.
Where's that valve?
It's on 12, I think, for that side.
The city, let me just say, the city water line runs right next to
17.
the 17th green, and it's not far from the 16th green. So you could have the city just go out there and put a gate valve on it, or a llave, and hook a hose up to it, and sprinkle 17, and leave everything else alone. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
it
don't-
makes.
I don't know if it
17
makes
greens is
sense or
kind of
not.
good already.
Exactly, that's what I'm about to say. You know, when you play out there, you right away say 17 is good.
Yeah,
because
17 is
It's
a
one of our
nice
better
green.
greens, so it'd be
It's what,
It's a good green.
you wanna do it on a different green?
I wonder-
Well,
wonder
we'd
if
like to
it's
do
one
one
or
that's
10.
hurting.
1 or 10?
12.
18.
Or 18.
12.
110 or 18 will be probably one of the ones that we can
12.
test that out.
110 or 18.
But we can do it
Yeah,
because of
110
that
or
valve.
Yeah, I mean,
And
again,
12.
that's,
And 12.
that's something that we,
Or I guess what we could do is fill our sprayer, 300-gallon sprayer,
Right.
and just go spray every day, just spray hole number 12.
That'd
Or
be
hole
easy.
I don't know, it's just an idea, I'm not trying.
Oh, it's a good idea.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, and now if it goes bad, then we'll just.
You have a water tanker? No, don't you have the water tanker?
Yeah, the 300 gallons.
you know,
I mean, you are an engineer.
I have a question real quick. I'm
Yes, sir.
reading on the irrigation part, it says that it's, a filtration system is highly recommended, so there's no filtration or new, or?
No, I guess they never originally put one. So when they replaced the pump last summer, The guys went down there and they pulled out, and I think had pictures, we had the whole.
That's
report
where
there.
you found out
There
it was
There was
silt.
clams living down there, I guess, when they're like, oh, this is blocking everything. So that's when the whole, there's a lot of silt, there's a lot of silt, there's a lot of silt
Right.
came around. So David came up with a floating thing.
Right.
60 grand, 70 grand when I thought about it, so I went and called the guy, because David's no longer here. I said, hey, you had spoken to David about it. He goes, well, there's also an inline, which Andrew had recommended. Inline's cheaper.
I mean, yeah, I would just say what I like is eventually is to make that pond bigger.
Well, we've talked about it.
Yeah,
with
we
the
talked
last
about
one.
it, but,
Another pond.
It would be better just
17.
to split the pond in half, actually.
or what, however, but just,
You could dig
I mean,
another,
it's-
dig another pond just
that whole.
You're doing the lots.
northwest of that, 10 yards away. A clean new pond, line it, because this one leaks. And I'm sure this one is silted up, because no doubt silt comes out of the river pump. And just build a new tank right next to it.
What area, Mr. Jacobs, are you talking about?
Where you-
Well, there's a lot of fairway, in other words, the golfers who try to cut the
Northwest,
corner.
okay.
Yeah,
All you guys who try
Right behind the
to
little shack,
If they
hit-
couldn't
hit
cut the
over
corner, that would be a
houses that are
hard
gonna be
hole.
Built out there.
right.
So,
That would be a very
Or
hard
you can
hole.
play from the blacks.
so just to the right, if you're
Everybody
facing the
moving
golf
the
course,
tees.
just to the right of the pump station, there's a lot of fairway there, depth.
Right.
It's, yeah, the rough.
Oh,
And
roll
it's
there.
it's already
rough
a
there.
natural.
The whole
It's
is
already,
there
it's already ponded, I mean, it's already sloped.
That's where you take your third shot from.
I mean, you have to get somebody from RTJ to look at it and design it. Landscapers have to say, yeah, this makes sense. You could have a valve connecting the two or whatever, but that would be a good thing to do because you could line that one. And the current one leaks. I quit complaining about it, but it's, it's costing the city money and it's undermining our pump, but my priority was to keep the grass green. That's why I never really.
That,
complained.
well, I mean, but we're still gonna have the same problem that, we still need to create a source of filtration in there, because if we continue with the silt,
Just needs
you
to
know,
be
we're
deeper. It-
yeah,
they can
we're
make it
just gonna
deeper
poison, we're
where-
just gonna
where the
poison it even
silt
more.
goes
So
down.
you said that's the only thing that no other chemical that's out there, because you have a direct pump with no filtration, you're just dumping all those chemicals on those greens, right?
So it depends on how deep the straw is. See, if that thing is sucking water right off the bottom of the river, then we're absolutely ruining the golf course.
Yeah.
If it's
Floating.
sucking off the top, that's a little different story. I don't think anybody pays any attention to that, nor do I know if there's a way to control the elevation of that suction pipe.
I said 2 plastic 55-gallon drums would handle that like a,
I'm
like
sure
a.
it's a steel pipe, right?
It's a steel pipe, but it could be done. In other words, there could be a winch or something, a cable on it that picks it up when the river's low. My guess is it's just, some of that time it's been laying on the bottom of the river.
Yeah.
But again, that should be a landscape
So
unlimited
we
issue.
should prioritize these type of things, these suggestions
So
as we go along.
Andrew shared with me, he goes, well, the first step, the defense would be to deep core, which would be in June, which David didn't do because he was afraid because the pump wasn't working, and he goes, I deep core, I might lose the greens for the whole year, right? So he went and did some chemical stuff. It's hit or miss with those chemical things that they add, like, they work on some soil and some soils, they can't break through.
Well, my point,
Dennis, what's scary about this is your heart's in the right place, but Landscapes Unlimited agronomists or the
That's exactly what I was
experts,
gonna say.
they should be telling us exactly what to do. You're trying something and something else and something else, and it's admirable.
Yeah.
But that's what they're getting paid for, and it's not working.
Gary, he's relaying the message that we provided to David, and David did try a lot of the things that we recommended.
Well, I mean, and that's true. The thing is that we, over here, we weren't getting, so there was a gap.
Well,
in the-
to be fair, there was not really a gap, is that we didn't meet from September, October, November, December, January, February,
That's-
which is when a lot of this stuff, information was
Yeah,
being
yeah,
relayed.
no doubt.
So let's make that straight, clear.
Yeah, no, I know, very clear.
You and I talk a lot because I see
There
at the
were a lot
golf
of
course.
these reports done.
Yeah, and so, look, in every other committee that I serve, I'm getting, my email inbox is swamped, and it's up to us whether you can't say anymore, I didn't send it to you. I did send it to you. Well, and right now, because this is a physical meeting, we shouldn't stop the flow of information from coming because, I mean, also this great rating material to go to sleep every day, and some of this stuff is I mean, it's important, right? So that we can sit here and do what we have. In other words, what I'm trying to do is create structure, so that we have a meeting of the minds, and then the way we speak to each other on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, or whatever it is. But, you know, on a more fundamental level, that just like any other company that you guys work for, is that we create our checklist, and this is what we have to do to get from point A to point B to C down the line, and what do we have to do to be great again, is really what I wanna do.
Yeah, and I think it starts with, let's make sure everybody shows up to these meetings every month. I mean, I talk to you and you, because I see you guys every week at the golf course, so I can relay it to you, because I was fed this information, I have this information, I can feed it to you, you know what I mean?
But you can feed it to all of us on a real-time basis. I mean, everybody here is interested in the golf course.
You tell me when, and I'm open for,
I mean,
you wanna meet once a week?
if there's no meeting because of COVID, or we can't get a quorum or something, everybody here is interested in feedback.
Well,
Everybody.
I think you get feedback from me every week when you go to the
I
golf
guess he's
course.
saying just email that to.
Everybody.
the
Send it to
city-
me, and then
the
we'll
city
send it to
Yeah.
us, and we'll send it to everybody.
And we take it from there, and I'm telling you, a lot of times, and some people, yeah, some people are gonna not read it, right? But there's some of us that are really, really interested in becoming part of this team that gets that place to where we know what we've seen. I mean, I'm very proud of that place. So
Great.
one of the reasons that I pushed for this committee was because I'm very proud of that place. It is one of the biggest highlights that Laredo has, and I really feel that we've lost golden opportunities in business-wise from getting it to the level that it was before, because it's not there yet.
Right.
But it's not so far-fetched that it's not attainable sometime this year to get it to where it was, right?
Correct.
You know, so, and I'm just thinking that it can be, I don't know if this report tells us it's gonna be a quick fix or not a quick fix. Is it gonna be something that's more permanent, that we've already, like I tell everybody else and everywhere else that I serve, that we found the problem all the way down to the cellular level, that we can fix it from that point up. That we, not that we think, but that we know. And so that report that we're talking about, that Mr. Jacobs talking about, is precisely why we're here, is that let's get it, if it's the expert guy from Landscape that's telling us this, he needs to put it in writing and say, this is what you guys need to do over there in Laredo. This is what you guys, City of Laredo Representative JJ, send this to everybody. This is what we're gonna do. This is our game plan to fix it. Let everybody sign off on it and let's go. Because if we don't, we're gonna be saying, well, he said kinda we were supposed to do this or that or the other. We need, hard evidence that you and that the city and them are in the same game plan, and we all agree with it. So if it doesn't work and we have to tweak it, let's do it. If it fails dramatically, let's trash it, let's go again. What else do we have to do?
And it's in the economic interest of the city, because the last thing we wanna have to do is, in 2 or 3 years, rebuild all the
Yeah.
greens. That'll be very expensive, and I'm worried about the greens, cause they've been sick for so long. So, we need to get this right. I
Yeah.
mean, it has to be right.
This is not an insult on anybody, but is it in the best interest of the course to get an independent consultant in there to come in and do the testing, do everything, and get a second opinion, let's say, and go by whatever they say? Because again, if Landscape is doing it, it's part of their contract, fine. But if we're not 100% sure, and this committee's not 100% confident in that, then is it something that we can do to get an independent consultant to go in there and do the testing? Give us the same ideas or some ideas and really reinforce what Landscape is saying. That might be the other option.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's-
Yeah, and if you guys want,
That
I
should be
mean,
our choice.
we can, I guess, executive summaries can go to everybody, right, Coach? Or is it something that we have to share to the city like we do, and then you
So,
guys have to?
I asked that question.
No, it isn't. It just tells you what it is.
Properly, you send it to me, and then the city will send it out to them. So from now on, what's what we're gonna do? Or any information that we'll send
Yeah,
Carbon
any-
Copy
any-
Gloria, so she makes sure that.
It'll be her fault.
Any subsection in here with any solution-based idea that can come through that as part of this, because this identifies pretty much what the problem
Right.
is. But it
Okay.
doesn't give you what the answer is, because they're looking at this, at the surface level. We just identified through Dennis and Mr. Jacobs about the pump level, as to, we're not gonna do all of this other stuff without having to figure out how we're gonna fix the problem with the pump. Is it sucking in, 50 years of chemicals that have been dumped on the river that's in the soot at the bottom of the river? Or are we gonna get top water for that, So we still gotta figure that out.
And that I can talk to, they just reinstalled the pump, that $7,500 pump that's on the river, so.
So you're not using my pump anymore?
No, so yeah, they switched out, I think, 12 days ago. But they were recently there, so they should be able to tell us.
Oh, the pump at the river,
Yeah,
cause you replaced the one at the pond.
yeah, last year, and then this one. So what I'm thinking, it does float, because what happened supposedly was, we got that big rain a couple weeks ago or something, and it just floats up, and I guess somehow it just got flooded supposedly and burnt out the motor.
Oh,
So, by what they were explaining to me, it seems.
What'd you say, it started sucking air and burned out the impeller, or what?
No, something that the water comes in and it rises with the water level. So I'm assuming that means that it's not touching the ground, it's always kind of buoyant.
That's not what mine.
Why would
is.
that burn the pump up?
Supposedly that too much water got in it or something like that, yeah.
It would only take the amount of the size of the pipe.
Yeah.
Or what happens is that when it rises, it starts moving, and then when it goes down, it may get caught on something, and then the water gets down, and then it's just running.
You have to reprime it, but that's just management.
Well, you can burn your motor if it's,
You can, but if that, if the river's moving up and down, right? Somebody that's managing that pump needs to know.
Yeah.
right?
You
Every
need to
time
go
the river's
look.
gonna arrive, they tell you, come take the pump out, that's why we put the chain hoist and all that stuff on there. So if that's moving around and it's starting to suck air, that it needs to turn off automatically or whatever, and then they have to reprime it. You have a priming pump on your pump?
Yeah, it's small.
I mean, it should never suck air and burn the pump up.
Okay, anything else
I'll put
that you
this way,
would, you
we
would want
haven't
to?
done that in about 75 years of pumping water out there. We've never burned one up because it was sucking air.
And I don't know, I'll have to talk to Ramza and explain what happened.
I guess the 4 items that we break down what we just spoke about right now.
Okay, so you want a report monthly that we're gonna send you about the operations, I'm sorry,
Yeah, I'm not, this is secondary or.
The
this is
maintenance of-
secondary part of it right now. We're dealing with an emergency room situation right now. I think everybody in this room is interested into how we're gonna fix that first.
It's all about
The
the
rounds
grass.
and, huh?
We're interested in the grass.
the
Yeah.
greens.
The grass and the water.
Yeah.
You can play on concrete, but when you get to the greens, if they're super nice, that's all you're gonna
You played
remember.
on concrete last night?
And you go to Max, it's beautiful, and then you go to the greens, and if it's
Well,
the greens are number one, and then,
Yeah,
Everything
the
else.
rounds and all of that will take care of themselves. I'm not interested too much, in my opinion, I'm not interested too much in that right now. That is gonna be our number one goal. And everything that affects those greens is what we should be talking about. And we should be talking about where the pump, the filtration system, put a
The
time.
lakes.
The lakes, how are we gonna, when are we gonna get, or how are we gonna get to build another lake that needs to be done in there, or another pond? And how everything is gonna interlock with each other to get this thing going. Then, the immediate, or short term is gonna be how do we get, to test the clean water that's from the city and isolate one green so that we can, see if that clean water can fix it, and then see if we can get results from that over the next month or so.
How long should that take, Brandon? If you were to do a test like that on a green and take the silty water off of it and just have really clean water to see any results?
Boy, I don't know, Gary, there's so much, if you pulled a core out of the greens right now, I mean, it's just years and years of silt buildup, so how fast we can flush that, agronomically through aerification and replacing the sediments with new top dressing sand and helping with some chemicals. It's not an overnight thing, I mean, maybe
So
3 or 4
y'all have already put together a plan to do that?
To do what?
What you just articulated?
No, I'm saying, that's what we're gonna try to do currently to the greens, without this supplemental water, without the city water. We're already planning an aerification, we're already planning, we've got a FERC and Chem program going. Dennis and I were talking to the FERC and Chem guy in the truck before we even came in here. So we're trying to be as proactive as we possibly can. We're aware of the situation.
Well, I guess to Rick's point, it would be a good idea before you start that, if you could send the city and the committee the plan. Say, here's step one of landscape's approach to this. And maybe clean water is step 2 or step 3, I don't know. My question was, will clean water tell us anything?
I think it would take a little bit of time, that's for sure. There's no question.
Months?
Months. But I feel like, I wouldn't wanna stop the proper agronomic plans that we plan on doing to the greens to wait for the water plan, because they do need to be punched, right? It's a fact. We're coming out, they're waking up out of dormancy, and we need to get some air down in there and get some new sand
Is
down in
that
the
something you
profiles.
do every year?
Aerify?
Yeah,
Yes, aerification is an annual practice.
and that's what you're gonna do now,
In
because
fact,
when
it's
I was
twice a
out there not long ago, Dennis was telling me that you were gonna maybe do deeper holes or bigger holes, I didn't understand it exactly, what you were telling me.
What we recommended was, in April, we'd do the small holes because the greens are still not strong enough, and we just got off the phone with him. He goes, but in June, once Bermuda's like 100% because it's so hot all the time, then you can do the cores. That's how you're gonna eliminate some of the soil like that, because you're gonna core it out, right? If we go with the water process, well then if you stick that in, that filtration filter in there, and it's a 4 to 6 weeks, once you pay for the filter for it to get there and get installed. I know this is just what we talked about before, so then you would have clean water with taking the core out, manually taking out silt. And now you're gonna be maybe making it heal twice as fast, or avoid
Right.
the silt that's in there already and not throwing silt on top of it.
Do the greens need to be, can you flush the silt out from under the,
That's what aerification will do.
Well, on another level, and not to sound stupid, but some of the members might not see it, we got to see, no, it's because we got to see when they were building the course, the drainage system under, let's say, number 9. It's like a spider system in there. And I'm wondering if, I didn't see anywhere around
Is
that
that
were flushable.
Silted up?
Are those things flushable?
Yeah, the problem is the silt's not even getting down to the drains. The
Oh,
silt
so you're saying that it's
the
before
silt
then?
builds up on the surface level, in the thatch layer.
Oh, okay, so,
That's why putting
So
holes
that-
in them, Mike.
That's why we need to
Puncher.
aerify.
oh, okay,
So-
so I'm thinking that, that those drain lines are plugged up, and I said, I don't
No.
see anywhere where you can unplug them,
No, so we're gonna go out with just a needle time, it's basically the size of a pencil, right? And we're not gonna pull any material out.
No
We're just-
plugs?
No plugs to start. Plugs will come in probably June. We just need to vent them, that's what we need to do.
And what about, I'm gonna just say, I don't know, can you reseed them, or?
No,
You can't?
no, can't really reseed. That Bermuda grass doesn't come in a seed form.
Oh,
Yeah, you'd have to sod or sprig.
oh, yes. but-
do we have a nursery?
It's there, it's
Yeah.
growing, it's the one that, we tried to do it with some of me and David went and picked up 2 pallets of the grass in Houston, at the Cleveland, whatever, the Princess or whatever it is. We plugged as much as we could, and we had a little bit left, and we tried to do a little bit of a nursery. It's coming along. You can actually, Andrew saw it, he goes, maybe give it a little airfire, some fertilizer, sand it a little bit, and by summer, that thing should be able to provide you patches for that. I've already called the gentleman in Cleveland, Texas, who provides that. So it so happened that as soon as me and David left, they got a storm, and they haven't been able to get grass to grow since. He goes, hopefully call me late April, and I can get you. And I said, well, put us on the list, put us for 3, 4, 5 pallets, I don't care. Because then we can grow our nursery. I'm trying to show you exactly what that pulling of cores is, because Andrew pulled cores and I recorded it. And it's about a device that goes in that deep, you pull it out, you could see where, okay, water is getting to the bottom, but on the top, a little patch, maybe, what is it, about, it was a 1/4 inch?
Yeah.
Of little bit of thatch, so that's where he's like, that's where we're gonna poke holes. So the immediate response from Andrew was to do this, what is it called, cross verticutting?
Grooming.
Grooming, and it just slices the green up.
Isn't that vertically?
Well, no, the verticular
It's a little
goes like
different.
this.
Oh.
It's just slicing. So, then you put sand on it, and this is something that Tom didn't like to do, it just depends on the agronomist, right? And David and Coach came back from a trip somewhere, and he's like, dude, I just put it on the best greens ever. He goes, but I asked the gentleman, what do you do? We roll every day. I let Brandon know, Brandon let David know, let's start. And he did the rolling 2 days, 3 days, and sent me a picture of it. And then he stopped me, he goes, I just don't think it's good for it. I think we're gonna end up damaging the greens.
Yeah.
His fear, that was his fear. So he kinda stayed away from it, him being the agronomist and him being, you know, we were
But,
like.
so that's why the greens may look like they're being overwatered, cause the water's not going all the way through and draining out.
That silt builds up an algae layer on top.
Yeah, it's kinda like
And it
clay.
just, the water sheet
like clay.
flows.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
More like clay, yeah. When you-
Yeah.
It looked like it, because we were talking about the last time we went to the tournament we played. I mean, you hit the green and it make a ball mark as if it had just rained the day before. It hadn't rained out here in months,
Yeah.
right? And it was, and there were certain holes that was doing it to. I said, those things don't need more water. I think it's overwatered. And
Yeah.
no, it's just not, it's not going through. And another stupid question from my side, if removing it by physically, let's say on number one, you cut off half the green and work on the other half by removing it, are we talking about removing it manually? When we say that there's let's say a 4-inch level of layer of silt in there, when you punch it, you're just trying to dry it out. You're not trying to remove it.
Yeah, so the first step, like I mentioned, that we'll probably do next week is truly just venting them, right? And we are gonna top dress over the top to try to get some better material down in there. Come June, we're actually gonna pull the material out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's the way you do it, okay.
That's the plugs.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking is, so you remove
that'll be your-
half the green.
Yeah.
And, for 6 months, fix that area up, cover it up, do the other half, and then just make the greens smaller in that aspect.
And with those
I'm not-
remains that come out, that'll be the saving grace. They stick them in a machine, they shake them, and then you get left with the seeds or whatever that you can do a nursery with because you've taken all the silt out of it.
Yeah.
So all that remains, they brush it up, they can pack it, and then there you go, see? And
So
then,
it's kinda like sprigging.
yeah,
So
so that's,
I just wanna understand this plugging that you're gonna do in June. So you're gonna take cores to analyze the core, right?
No, these cores, it's just an agronomic practice, Gary, that most golf courses are doing. And that typically happens in the southwest in
So
June.
lots of cores,
Lot of cores.
per green, 300, 400, something?
Oh, no, we're talking, half-inch
Half-inch.
plugs, of a spacing of about every 6 inches.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so you pull the core out, and then what happens?
You pick up the cores, we'll analyze to see if they're even worth saving for a green, but if there's too much silt in them, they're trash.
Okay,
Is what they are.
but then what happens to the surface of the green there after the next day?
Well, you heavy top dress, lots of sand
It
goes
goes to
down.
the bottom.
Yeah,
To go
fill up
down
the
into
holes.
those cores?
That's correct.
Special sand, any kind of sand?
Yeah, it's-
Top dressing sand, USGA top dressing sand.
And in the past, and now, I've been, the last week and a half, everyone's like, hey, the greens are getting fast, the greens are getting real fast. Well, because you can top dress, before you would top dress, and Tom also didn't like, you would putt and you'd see the little rooster tail of the golf ball. Some places leave it like that. Well, Andrew was like, no, that's why we're gonna roll, and then you roll the sand into the little slicing that you did, so now it's flat again, and it being flat and rolled, now you're getting a true roll. I played with some guys at the last tournament, they shot -12, they made putts from everywhere, they're like, this is the best putting surface we've ever had at the max. Well, because they're rolled.
They're rolled.
When they didn't roll them, the little grain starts.
Yeah, it was no bump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when David was saying that he didn't want to roll them, and I said, we're getting lousy greens, plus the ball's not moving.
Yeah.
On the good greens, the ball's not moving. I mean, just press some, and then you pressed them that last time we did, it was
Because
good.
I told him, I said, I went to the Bahamas, wow, it's that
Oh,
beautiful.
cool.
I know. And so I asked the guy, I said, well, what do y'all do? So we roll every day to get a true roll, to get a, so I said,
Get
man,
a
we gotta
smooth-
do it,
smooth
man,
surface.
do it, and then, now you can tell the difference,
Rick has big 12-foot
Yeah.
footprints all around the
For
world.
my size 14 is marked all over the damn place, because it's so wet in there. I'm leaving a mark. But, I guess,
I don't know if it's worth anything, hadn't been here, but I met a very capable guy who manages 10 golf courses. And I sent him pictures of our greens and kind of told him what was going on. And his immediate reaction was, these greens are getting too much water. Now, he didn't come look at them, he didn't core anything.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
But he runs 10 golf courses that are very profitable and very good courses. And, you know, his just knee jerk was, these greens are getting too much water. So I don't know how
Yeah.
much water this
So
is.
perception wise, Gary, it can look like that when the water
not
doesn't,
coming down.
it can't flush through.
Can't go anywhere.
Exactly.
So this is what Andrew, and it'll be on the reports. That's a picture, and he says that's healthy there. For some reason, my other one's not loading up. It looks healthy, but at the very top, which is the top there, you could see where there's a little bit of silt crust for about a quarter inch, and that's the issue there. So he came with the same conclusion, he goes, maybe we're getting too much water, because that's quorum. So we went and cored him, because you had talked to me on the 20th, and he came down on the 27th, I go, well, maybe they're getting too much water, Andrew. He says, well, the only way to find out is coring them. And he goes, no, they're not getting too much water, it looks good there.
Because the water's not percolating down to the
So
roots.
that's why the next day he had, I always forget what's it called, it's not verticutting, it's grooming.
But with that, Brandon, with the fact that water's not percolating into the roots of the grass, would that cause these blotches and dead spots that look like fungus on the surface of the greens? Is that?
Yeah, it's the silt buildup is what it is. And gentlemen, I just gotta tell you, I'm just as frustrated as you are. I really am. I want nothing more than these greens to be absolutely perfect, right? But I do wanna go on record to say that Steve Merkel, from the time that we started here, has said, and this is before I ever had a relationship with Coach, this is before Coach's time. He has said that we have a problem with the water, and we have a filtration problem. And it has been spoken about. So this isn't the first time that it's been brought up. And I know that's the past, and we need to worry about it going forward.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
if we have an audience that's
More
willing
of
to
a
listen.
solution than.
Yeah, but, and that's, again, that's one of the reasons this committee was done, because the public wouldn't have known about those conversations. After the conversation, what was done is the immediate reaction, and then, yeah, you've told them about the water for all this time. What was the city's response to saying anything about that water? Did they do anything about it? And therefore, that's where the problem is, that we wanted to know to what extent your contract, what was your job and what was the city's job in this partnership? And therefore, that's what we're here to find out. So what is the city gonna be doing to make sure that you get to this course to the highest level possible? We need to make sure that us in here, we put the clamps on the city and say, hey, they need you, whether you haven't been doing it. And then once you give it and we're not getting results, then we can say, landscape, you were giving everything you needed and you were not performing. And then so back and forth, and that's where we're at, and that's what this is for.
And the golf course will definitely make more money if
No
it's
doubt.
brought up to the standard that
No
it was
doubt.
built to.
No
People
doubt.
will come play it.
No doubt.
Even
Yeah.
people at the country club who don't like the traffic will play it every week if it's the highest standard,
Yeah.
or better than it is.
Okay, thank you for everybody's feedback, and we'll definitely, Rick, on committee, will make a note of this. So if you go to the highlighted, I just want to make sure that I touch, which is number 2, the report site visit that we went in February. Engineering department, Mr. Chavez, building department, Mr. Gerardo Pinzon, and myself, to go look at now we're talking about the structure side, right, on the structure side. So.
The clubhouse.
The clubhouse area, yeah. So, which is this one right here, the one highlighted. The following items were discussed with Dennis and Landscape Golf Management during our visit, engineering department, building, and myself, Parks Department, to the Max Mandel. Dennis has addressed some issues with some of the items and some of the items we're currently working on to be replaced as per the city, which is highlighted in yellow. So we came down with a checklist, and we sent it to Dennis. We sat down, well, we went in by ourselves and we walked it, trying to get ahead of some things that we need to, the building is what, 11 years old, guys, or what, how old is it?
13. No,
But-
the building was built a little later.
12, 13,
we-
and
The carpet's got to, I don't know, I don't remember, I wasn't here,
we're
so.
looking at 9 years probably.
Yeah, 9.5. Well, actually,
Let me ask you,
October.
is that a standing seam roof, metal roof?
Yes.
I'm never going
So-
up there.
You know, I bought a house that was built in 1922 in San Antonio,
Uh-huh.
and it has a standing seam roof, and it was guaranteed for 100 years.
Oh, well, I need to follow up with that. Let me follow up with that.
And the contractor who built this was,
Belden?
no, ¿cómo se llama? I'll think of it. Alejandro knows very well who built it. But if it's a metal roof, I see here you have a note, you know.
Yeah,
It really should last way longer than 11 years.
yeah. There's on the roof side, over here by the little patio facing the 18th green, where you can sit down and watch the 18th green. Y'all know what, right? So right there seems to be a lot of, what was it, mildew stuff that's coming down from the,
The patio?
from the,
On the roof,
well, no, that first it comes from the roof down into that little deck.
Yeah.
And then on the sitting deck, it starts going down into the building and down into the,
So it
from,
doesn't-
it doesn't.
The porch.
Yes,
Yeah.
There's no
into there.
been a
gutters, there's no
roof over
gutters
there.
on that building, right?
There's no gutters.
There's no,
No,
Gutters weren't in the budget, I remember.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's got enough of a, I mean, you go in there and you can see physically that the whole balcony area
right,
is tilted the right way.
right.
But, yeah, it's got the right pitch and everything, but the water is just gonna,
Well, yes and no, because on the, where the door is,
oh, yeah, it came in.
came in, because maybe the pitch was right, but, you know, most people that are, maybe the guy didn't know when you do tile, you know, you,
Goes up.
yeah, especially outside, you gotta put a drop, like a 1/4 inch drop, and they didn't put a 1/4 inch level, so the water comes in when it rains hard.
Right. So that, and then as you can see, as you're walking into the clubhouse, you see that black mildew coming down from the top to bottom, but the problem is on the top of the roof. So we're bringing here, if we do put gutters, if it doesn't take away the vision or the look of the, and Dennis gave me a little bit of history that it's supposed to look like that.
Some of the patina on the wrought iron.
Mr. Jacob, it's supposed to look like on the wrought iron?
Well, our council person, Vanessa, complained about how that looks. you
Yeah,
know.
by the way, she couldn't make it today. She texted me, she was gonna come, but she couldn't
Yeah.
make it today.
So, I mean, some people like it, some people don't. All I would care about is structural integrity of the building. So I don't know what's causing
The-
that or
the-
anything,
yeah.
you know. But is the roof leaking?
No.
The leaks we get are on the second floor, but it's from when the balcony, when it rains and.
When it comes
water
into
goes
the
in.
balcony.
The roof's not leaking?
No,
No, we haven't seen
No.
anything.
we haven't seen it. It's just the way it comes into the balcony and then it's just down.
But just for the record, we shouldn't have to put a new roof on this.
Okay.
For like another 25 years or so, you know.
Yeah, so we do wanna go but speaking of, we wanna go power wash it and maybe some of this that we identify wanna do the painting. We just don't wanna mess the aesthetics the way it's supposed to look, you
Well,
know?
I wouldn't power wash it.
It's been in my reports for years.
Yeah.
And I was told that that's the way it's supposed to look.
You know, I mean, if you wanna brush that off, it can be brushed off, but I think, first of all, I don't think that's a high-quality stucco job on there. So a power washer's gonna knock the stucco off, and then, I don't know how the base coat is, it's gonna be a mess. I wouldn't put any high pressure on it, but it can be cleaned,
Okay,
Maybe a
and
steamer, Coach?
yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that our aquatics has a steamer that comes in and.
Does it look aesthetically okay with like that or not?
yeah, it's gonna, you know, you could discolor the whole thing. I would just wash it with a brush. In other words, I could do it in 2 hours, you know, so,
Yeah,
when I was younger.
well, we can, I mean, we can look, find a space there and just kinda do it manually first but we are gonna, that is in the schedule, but
Yeah.
I wanna come into the committee first to show
Yeah,
you all.
but I think I'd be careful about power washing or steaming, because then it could leave a blotch that's inconsistent with the whole color of the building, then you're gonna have to stain the whole building. So
Right.
be careful about that.
Yes, sir. So that's, what's highlighted in yellow is what we are taking care of. What's not highlighted in yellow is, golf landscapes here, so that they're working on. The next thing, which I know it's gonna be has been brought up many times at the very end, is about the golf carts. And I'll let them, I'll let them, we have been in contact,
No,
Dennis has
JJ, I
told
wanna
me.
hear it from you. Poor Dennis, I'll let them explain.
Yeah, no, we came up with I think we have a plan, after talking with them and what's gonna happen. I know we got golf carts coming up in May, new golf carts coming
No,
up in
it's,
May.
it's August now.
But
Oh, my
you were gonna get some batteries.
Right.
I've purchased, I have the receipts here, our Sam's Club bonus points are up the roof. Spoke to Club Car, they're like, yeah, we'll get them to you in 2 to 3 weeks. I was like, that's 2 to 3 weeks for Club Car might turn into 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So I've went and purchased about 41 batteries so far. We're up to 47 good carts. We're gonna get about another, well, yeah, but no,
10
they're
carts, right? It's 4 batteries per car?
six.
Six,
But,
oh my
you know,
lord.
the thing was, they do the test, and this one's still good, this one's not good, and then they're putting one out. It's a patchwork for now.
Yeah,
But we should be up to like 55 carts by AJ's tournament in April first.
if, you know, and all of these things are lessons that we have to learn from. I'm not sure that, you know, and you can say, well, we're not gonna use that company ever again. Was it the company or the way we're using them, the usage? Were we getting the right, you know, carts in the first place that are,
Well, March
It's not the
20
cart, it's the
March
battery.
2022, there was a report that we turned in to you
yeah,
guys.
yeah, I remember that one.
Where due to COVID and the one rider system, it just drained.
Drained them.
It's a global problem.
It's a global problem.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so the lesson here would be, okay, so we don't have COVID anymore.
But we have golfers that do not want to, so we charge $10. You want your own cart?
Yeah,
$10.
Good.
Because.
I was gonna ask you that, 'cause-
Everybody's like, well, I play faster, that means you can get more rounds in. Yeah, but the wear and tear on our tires and the battery, for one, when it's made for two.
Well, I mean, so I was gonna get to that, is that, you know, there's a lot of lessons also to be learned on, aside from all of that, you know, there's a lot of wear and tear, but then the maintenance part of it, from our end, from, we're considered as a team, so from our end, is that we, you know, I see some of those tires that are, you know, there's 3 new tires and 1 worn out one. And I know Mr. Jacobs spoke to when we first met about that particular issue, you know, about what are we doing to maintain them, to make them last longer and everything.
And the carts are dirty.
Yeah, so, you know, that side of it is really, I wanna work, that we have control over that. We don't have control over the lease on those vehicles and what we're gonna do with those, what are we gonna learn from that after that? Lithium batteries, the next carts we get, they have more life, you know, might be a little bit more expensive, but that's, I think, the way that the golfing industry is going now.
So one of
But
the,
we should try to buy, to the extent that we can, things manufactured in North America and not in China.
I think Club Cars.
I gave the number, there's a new company in San Antonio that builds golf carts. And that's right there,
Yeah.
you know, and those guys can create, I don't know when.
What
but-
is your
but he-
delivery time on the?
August 7th.
Yeah, so I've been trying to buy a golf cart on a golf course in Mexico that my family likes. And Mexico, they told us 11 months to get a golf cart.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So just so the group's aware, through our relationships with Club Car, they are gonna find a way to compensate us for the expense of these batteries.
Okay, good.
And I think also through our relationship, the total package, we're gonna save almost $100,000 through our relationship with them as well.
Oh, cause y'all get a special deal, 'cause you buy so many carts from them.
Yeah.
So you'll stay on them on trying to deliver before August?
We're top of the list.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things, and carts have always been a 4-year lease. We mentioned it last time, maybe doing a 3-year lease, but obviously your payment gets a lot higher, but it avoids these situations. But now we're back to lithium batteries. We're monitoring Casablanca because they were the first ones to get lithium because of the way their schedule was to get new carts. But we got the last of the regular batteries because we needed the regular carts when lithium wasn't available till this time around. So we're hoping, but it's not so much the batteries now, it's just the maintenance of those carts because people beat the carts up. I had a group from Waco that's been coming for 9 years, had 49 carts. Well, what did they do on the weekend? Alignments all crooked, so right now I'm having the mechanic kind of, try to align it. Because if we try to order parts, 6 weeks.
What's their experience with lithium batteries?
Well, they're having a great experience as far as the longevity of it. Like, they say last 2 rounds on 1 day's charge.
Yeah.
So they're,
That's exactly what I
but
told
you
you.
still have,
But they're made in China, that's the problem.
yeah,
The battery one.
The North American Lithium Company, is that, is that right? Yeah.
but the battery itself is holding up. Now, the carts aren't doing so well because they have a little different topography than we do. But goes to what we're experiencing with our carts. Some of it is our drivers also. They just, they partake a little
Yeah,
bit
I
of
mean,
fireball.
the terrain that we have, a lot of hills, a lot of, I understand that,
No,
that
I'm talking
deal.
more about the alignments.
Yeah,
Pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Casablanca.
yeah, and but then that through, through seeing that, when I first saw those carts, I said, like, they're gonna ruin them in 1 year. They have more ruts in that damn course than, I mean, it's like horrible, and those carts have kept up.
Are we recording this?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, they have ruts like crazy over there. No, it's just that people are just banging them all over the place, but they've kept up. And you're right about those batteries being made in China. So what I'm saying is that if we're gonna go into a new deal with them, that we've done our homework with everything else, that's not gonna put us in that same situation again, especially the customer service from their end,
So then Club Car, maybe you can give me a cart for Mexico. You built the course, thanks to me, you built the course.
Well, this is totally off topic, but
Looking
Lowe's
at
started
ag and golf
selling
course.
And what
a
happens is
4-seater golf
they
cart,
put
and they
one
have
bad
it at Lowe's,
battery
not this Lowe's, but
with
Lowe's in San
good
Antonio.
batteries.
It's
that bad
$10,000
battery
and it's made
to
by John
You
Deere.
gotta
wear
suck
out
it
the
in.
other
I've
one.
never seen
Yeah.
a John Deere
And
golf
that's what they
cart in my
do,
life.
okay.
Really?
Okay, what
It's
part
here
of
at Lowe's,
Mexico?
I guess you could just go
Takes
pay it and pick it up.
6 batteries. They
What
put
part of
a
Mexico?
one out and 5.
North of Cabo, it's a place called Costa Palmas, it's,
Okay.
did a Robert Trent Jones, did the, en medio to this, we did a Landscapes Unlimited, Robert Trent Jones design build
Gotcha.
course, it's a great
One
golf
of my
course.
clients moves club car, that's why. So I'll be able to speak to someone, into Mexico.
Oh, okay, so they're not made in Mexico?
No, they come from
Georgia.
Augusta.
Augusta.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're from
They're
Augusta, Georgia.
American made, but the battery might be
So
coming.
maybe you can help me get one.
Yeah, I'll pull some strings.
I need the one with 2 seats.
Then it's a question, Mr. Rodriguez has, so I know we talked about as well that it requires 6 batteries.
Correct.
And let's say we replace 1, but the other 5 are still,
So,
does it suck up the good battery and you have to replace the
so
life,
this,
the life of the battery, right?
let me, go ahead, Rick.
No, just at the light.
So we test them with the battery amp and it reads it and it tells you and you can buy a refractor and stick down for each cell. The refractor will tell you, hey, this battery, this cell's bad. So right now we mix and match. The next 20 batteries that I get, what we're gonna end up doing is, after speaking to Club Car, probably what you wanna do now is say, okay, you've got 50 carts. You know you got 50 good batteries or 50 sets of good batteries, 300 batteries to say. Now I can get all the new ones, put them in the 30 carts and the other ones 20 carts, but they're all uniform.
Yeah.
But right now, we just wanna get carts up and
Yeah,
going,
pretty
and it'll be about a
uniform.
3-week process where the new battery will be with a Trojan battery and a Duracell battery, but eventually 30 carts will have Trojan batteries and 30 carts will have Duracell batteries, and that should help you. I mean, we're trying to get through August. I've spoken to a golf, hopefully they'll reimburse us, but even if they don't, because when I send the carts back to Club Car, I'm just gonna stick the Trojan batteries and give them the old bad batteries. Doesn't help us because we no longer need the Duracell batteries, right? But I can sell those to a golf course that uses our old batteries still and, recover some of that money. And if Club Car gives us our money back, well then, we might make a little bit of profit.
In the meantime, you can encourage more golfers to pull their clubs and walk.
That would be amazing.
The new Dennis Gutierrez wellness plan.
Rick would be the last in line for that.
We need to lose collectively 5,000 pounds in that damn golf course.
Oh,
The
geez.
minutes?
And we're serving fajita for sundown.
Gloria's reminding, we have to vote on a few things, cause then I have to go, cause I have an appointment with a Dr. Figueroa, so I can't be late.
Oh.
So what do we have, minutes of the last meeting, any changes, additions,
Approve those last minutes.
motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Passes, what else we have?
On the second page of those minutes, the issue with the field was mentioned.
Second page is what? Oh,
When they
Any,
reviewed that.
any items that the committee would like to,
I think they've given their plenty to talk about.
for next, I think now we got new members coming on, so hopefully we'll be more consistent, you know, we won't have people absent, you know, so they can make it, so.
Yeah, because you're gonna have, right now Mercurio's no longer there, so maybe that's why Louis is not coming.
Louis is, he's
Yeah, I don't know,
sick, no?
he's been reappointed?
He's
No,
been
it's-
ill.
Oh, okay,
But we will mention it to the new councilwoman that if she wants to appoint somebody,
right, and then the mayor's choice?
that's Berno.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good.
And then District 8, District
You know the
8
mayor?
is,
The mayor, I don't know. if I'm still gonna be-
District 8 is also where Councilwoman Cigarroa, that she needs to appoint someone.
Okay, okay.
Except that was
Melissa.
Joaquin's,
That's Melissa Segura?
no, Alisa.
Oh, Elisa.
Melissa. Melissa has not appointed anyone yet, that is Louis Pellegrin. But Louis Pellegrin is having some health problems, so that's why he hasn't been able to make it.
So long as we have quorum, we can continue to move. If we don't have quorum, the way to speak to each other is, you know, email everything and we
Okay.
can speak
So,
like that.
so we're gonna start doing a chain, email chain, and everything that goes here will go through me, and then Gloria will send everything out. If there's anything that you all need or wanna put into the next meeting, let us know, so that we can, a month from now, hopefully we can continue. One last question, Dennis, and this is before we close it out. How many golf carts do we need to sustain a heavy, a busy day? Okay, you know what? We don't got people waiting, or how many golf carts need to get, need to have?
40 carts pretty much does it to 50 carts, because remember, your 7 o'clock tee times are done by 11. They play the course in 4 hours. So by 11 o'clock, you're already bringing in carts back in and getting them ready to go out again. But we're gonna try to get to 55, and that means if we had a tournament, we could do 110 players. You don't want 100 more players, you don't want more than 100 players in a
No.
tournament, because you got a 6.5-hour round. And with the summer,
That's right,
it
okay.
just creates a bad experience for the golfer.
And how far are we, when will we have those 40, 50 carts ready
Right
to
now, we're
go?
47, I just talked to your son. He's got a 90
Oh, yeah, he's got-
tournament.
Yeah, he's got a big
coming
tournament
on
next Saturday.
On the April 1st.
Law
We'll
enforcement.
have probably 55 carts by Friday of next week.
But those are rentals that you're, or those are the ones, the new ones, or that, oh, now
I'm
that you
gonna
can?
let you figure that out.
No, that you.
Those are the batteries.
The batteries,
So, yeah,
yeah.
I'm bringing in batteries. I'm draining all the batteries from all the SAMs locally.
Yeah,
Any other matters?
No, sir, I think, well, that's you all.
Move to adjourn?
so move.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody, good meeting.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, thank you all for your time, gentlemen, and,
There's
Let's-
extra sandwiches for $2.
there's some sandwiches, I guess, all right?
Ay, lo dejaron, ¿a qué bueno? Tenía corriendo.